anybody doesn't know who I am, my name is Mhairi Hendry and I'm an international 800 athlete. In 2018 I competed for Great Britain in the World Indoor Athletics Championships over 800 metres, and I've won multiple Scottish titles, the most recent of which was just before lockdown, where I won the Scottish Indoor Championships. I also train with Larkhall Avondale Swimming Club, and I used to compete for them when I was younger. So that's why I'm on this chat, and Jan has asked me to talk a wee bit about nutrition. So let's start with the basics, why nutrition is important. So it's the most basic level. Nutrition is important for athletes because it provides a source of energy required to perform an activity, whether that be just walking about generally, or in our case, swimming, or any other sport that we sort of try. The food we eat impacts on our strength, training, performance and recovery. So it's really important for everyday life and specifically for athletes. Not only is the type of, that says food. Jan, you were supposed to proofread this.
Oh, right, okay. Feet are very important.
Feet are very important. Not only is the type of food important in sports nutrition, but the times we eat throughout the day also has an impact on our performance and our body's ability to recover after exercising. So the basics. In general, you need to replace the number of calories you burn each day. So calories in equals calories out. Calories measures the energy you get from food, and it also measures the amount of sort of fuel you burn during exercise. Every person's needs are different, so you look on, there's sort of guidelines about what a female should eat and what a male should eat. A male slightly higher. Athletes are completely different in this because we have a lot greater energy expenditure. So the amount of food depends on your age, your height, your weight and your activity level. There's good things online that you can look up and put on your sort of details, and then it gives you sort of a rough guide of how many calories that you should eat. I would sort of highly recommend anyone look into that because it gives you a baseline to know if you're eating too much, too little, or if you're eating the right amount. Okay, so meals eating before and after exercise are the most important in sports nutrition. As a general rule of thumb, athletes should eat about 2 hours before exercising, and this meal should be high in carbs, low in fat, and low in to moderate in protein. After exercise, protein is the most important meal because it ensures muscle recovery post-training, and protein is required to aid muscle growth and repair. So if you don't have a protein source, then your muscles will take longer to repair themselves, and you'll be more fatigued and tired in your next training session. So I spoke about protein and carbs. So they are macros. So calories come in different forms. The three main types are carbs, fats, and proteins. Carbs is the biggest source of energy and calories, and they should take up about 55 to 60% of your daily calories. I've put up sort of a wee diagram of a plate. It shows sort of the different layout of how much carbs you should have in comparison to sort of protein and fats. Fats is another important source of calories. They should account for about 30% of your daily calories, and protein should make up the remaining 10 to 15%. These percentages sometimes differ depending if you're wanting weight gain, weight loss, or lean mass type things like that. So for myself, I have a bit different percentage breakdown, but I've worked with nutritionists to sort of see what's best for me. So I have a slightly higher protein and fat goal and a slightly lower carb goal. So there's two main types of carbs, fast carbs and slow carbs. So fast carbs are used sort of before races and after races. So that's stuff like fruit, sugar, chocolate, jams, sweets. So I don't know if Jan has said, but when I was younger in swimming, jelly was quite a big thing. So we used to have the cubes of jelly in the wee pot, and we used to sit and eat them before our races and after our races. Sports drinks do the kind of same thing, but I probably wouldn't advise them because they're full of loads of artificial sort of things, and I think eating, it's best to eat sort of wholesome foods, so foods that are very basic rather than sort of pre-made things like that. So slow carbs are your main source, so you use that all day and it maintains your energy source, so you won't have that low. So the fast carbs, you hit a high and then you may drop afterwards and feel really fatigued and tired, so that's why you would have it closer to races. Sort of the slow carbs would be but 2 hours before training, so that would be oats, brown rice, noodles, potatoes, sweet potatoes, pastas, breads, those sort of things. So those slow releasing carbohydrates, okay? Protein, I'm just kind of going through where you would find those different things. So proteins should be included in every meal, particularly after training. So you can get protein from chicken, red meats, eggs, fish, nuts, milk, anything like that is a good protein source. And fats, you actually have to have fats in your diet, and quite a big proportion is fats, but we're talking about good fats here. So fats like olive oil, nuts, seed, avocados, oily fish like sardines and salmon, these are all good fats and they help your body, rather than sort of fats that you would get in, say, processed, high sugar, sort of sweets, crisps, type things like that. I have managed to make sure my diet is really balanced. Overall, you need a balanced diet to ensure you get the right vitamins and minerals. I also take some sort of supplements for that. So in Scotland, it is advised that every athlete should be taking vitamin D. So when I first joined the Institute of Sport, which is sort of high performance level athletes, I went and got lots of blood tests done, checking all my vitamins and minerals were normal. So for me as a female, my iron was low for an athlete. It was generally an okay level for every day-to-day person, but it was 22, I think, on their scale. For females to be known as anemic, you have to be under 20 in the general population. But for athletes, they want your level of ferritin to be over 80. So when I first got my first blood test, I was tested and I was about 21, 22, and they put me on iron supplements for as long as I needed to get to a certain level. The other thing that was really low on was vitamin D. Everybody in Scotland is low on vitamin D. Even we just don't get enough sunlight here, so I take vitamin D supplements. It's really hard to find supplements that are sort of batch tested. So Jan, you might be able to share somewhere that you can find good vitamins. For kids, probably any chewy vitamin that has general multivitamins is good, but if you're getting a wee bit older and you're competing at a high level, there's different things you have to check before you start taking supplements. So the only supplements I take are vitamin D and iron. I would say a really good tip just for a balanced diet is to ensure you stay hydrated. I always have water with me. I do forget to drink it, as Jan would see in training, because I do leave it at the side. But having it there, there's a greater chance I will drink it, especially just now, because I know I'm guilty for going to the cupboard lots thinking I'm hungry during lockdown, getting loads and loads of snacks, but actually I've just not drank enough water, and hunger and thirst can be sort of misconstrued as one another. So as a rule of thumb, if I feel like I'm hungry, I will drink some water to start off with, just to make sure it's not thirst rather than hunger. So as I said, what I tend to get wrong is what I'm going to look at now. I've worked closely with nutritionists from both the Institute of Sport and a company called Athlete Focused Nutrition. Athlete Focused Nutrition, I previously was on set meal plans from them. that was when I really struggled with my diet. I didn't eat the right things. It was impacting training. I was always feeling fatigued. So for, I think, about 12 weeks, I did a set diet with them. Diet in that terms, it was just like an eating plan. So every day they told me what to eat and when to eat it. They knew all my training, all my energy expenditure, so how much calories I burned, and they worked out from there. As a swimmer, I've always had a huge appetite, and was often eating the wrong things to try and subside my hunger. So I would go for a packet of crisps or a cereal bar, because in my head that was the thing that would sort of subside my hunger the best. But it just meant that like half an hour later I was hungry again and I was going back to the snack drawer. I have to work really hard to get the right amount of protein in. That's something where I really lack. It's really easy to get carbs in because carbs are in everything, but protein, you really have to sort of hone in on that. What I'd suggest is trying to track your meals for a day, maybe even a week, on something like My Protein. Not My Protein, MyFitnessPal. And if you track for your sort of day or week, you'll see if you're getting enough calories, what your percentage breakdown is, and then from there you'll be more aware of if you eat the right things and what you need to work on. So now I don't really track very often. I more intuitively eat, so that's just going with the flow, eating when and what I feel. I've learned to listen to my body. So when I have cravings, I eat things like that, but I eat sort of smarter. So if I'm craving chocolate, I'll tend to have dark chocolate. If I'm craving sort of crisps, I'll have baked rather than fried. I just choose sort of differently now. Quite often I have granola as a snack, but instead of buying the granola out the shop, which is really high in processed sugars, I make it myself, which means I know what's going into it. I've added nuts into the granola mixture, which again means that I know I'm getting proteins in with that, and it's not just all carbs. So that's a really easy way for me to get something in. I'll have it with like Greek yogurt, which is I get the 0% fat stuff. So it means I'm not getting any processed sort of fats, and again it's a protein source. It's taken a long time to get to this stage. I learned a lot from the nutritionists, dietitians and other athletes. It helps you grow. No question is too stupid. So if you know someone that's an older athlete or is someone that has been training or competing for longer than you, send them a message, ask them a question. I'm sure they're always going to be happy to help if they can. So I'm going to put it out to anybody that has